Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Andrew here, and today's picking back up with our Making It From Scratch number 8. Originally, I was going to do like one song in a single session, and I'm still going to play around with that, but I wanted to create an idea or take something more to like a finished track so that we can see the various stages, and it's a little easier working on something over time than just on the fly. So let's go ahead into the session. So this one, we actually have some vocals on it. I'm going to go ahead and play this track from the beginning, and then we'll work on it. It's quite sparse, it's pretty minimal, and we'll try to keep it pretty minimal, but there's all sorts of stuff we can add to it. So here it is. Cool. So if you haven't seen the former videos, this right here is a scratch vocal. It's just purely like an idea that my fellow collaborator Preston laid down last time he was in the studio, and it's allowed us to just kind of like write an idea around it, using some sound toys to have a parallel of the vocal down in formats. If you don't have a pitch shifting plugin, this a lot of times when they're doing promotional deals, you can get this for $30. It is incredibly useful and versatile. So we had already wrote in this MIDI last time I was working on this track. Now I wanted to just kind of like experiment with some other sound design. I kind of want a bigger pad to enter somewhere around here. All right. An instrument that I really love for pads is Iris 2 by Izotope. Here it is. And also for those of you that watched last week, I had it actually like the layout wrong in OBS for some reason. I recently switched out my monitor, and I guess it's because of the difference in the way the dimensions work. Perhaps it's some Apple's doing, since I was formerly on an Apple Thunderbolt monitor, had some problems with noise and the heat supply, so I am now on a non-Apple monitor, which I love. It's a Philips 4K monitor, but basically you'll know what I mean if you seen that video, or perhaps you know what I'm referring to. So yeah, let's just grab some various sounds from Iris 2. It's kind of cool, actually. Let's hear it. So now I want to write a melody on top of it for when that section right there where he's not singing, the bass drops. And I want this melody to feel like it fits from the song. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write it based on what is already happening in the song. And one really good thing to do if you're working with a singer is with your ear, try to write in notes that they're actually singing, since that's already in your song, you know, and you like how it sounds, hopefully. It works in your song. So, and if you do that, you can even add notes, change it, but if it's based on what the vocalist is doing or what another instrumentalist is doing, it's going to have a lot better chance of feeling like it's from the song and actually fits in. And I feel like this descending run that he does would be really cool. So let's grab an instrument. Let's just grab the vocal. I could use actually Melodyne to try to just cheat, but we'll use our ears. Remind myself what key we are in. Looks like an A flat minor chord. Yeah, call it A flat minor. Wonderful. That's a complicated key that I did that to myself on purpose. All right, so let's go back into Iris and let's change the instrument we're using here. There we go. Lost choir. I really like using this kind of sound. It's not going to be more like a full hot lead, but let's hear some of our bare essential channels with that.
There were days in my life that I knew.
All right, so
There were days in my life. There were days. There were days. There were days. There were days. There were days in my. There were days in my life. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me. There were days. There were days. There were days. There were days in my. There were days in my life that I knew she would. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there. There were days in my life that I knew she would leave me there.
all right, so sorry for beating your eardrums to death with the same phrase, but it's that simple. You can like just try to use your ear. You don't even really need to know what scale you're using. The idea with music theory is that the notes that you're going to figure out with your ear that you like, chances are those come from the scale, so you can save yourself some time, like I did, just knowing the key we're in here. Now let's let's make sure I have this in. I guess we need to write the ending part. Alright, so let's say we do that. Couple things I want to change to it. So one, let's put a low pass filter on it. Let's add some pitch bend automation. Let's see here. Preston on this note does like a slide down, so let's try to mimic that. Add some movement there. All right, so the amount of pitch bend that we hear is based on whatever your synth has. The lower left is a lot of times where they have it. So if I want these movements to be more noticeable, I can take that, let's go plus and minus, an octave. Now I may have to tame this. That'll work for us for now. We could kind of let the sound of the filter open up. All right, let's do some more magic on it. I'm going to bounce this in place, trying to prevent Logic from crashing, knock on wood. Yeah, I'm going to disable even those plugins. So for those of you on a laptop or a computer that's not super powerful, which is totally fine, you can get your career started on a system that's really not that fancy. Luckily for us, audio is not pushing computers fast. I have a new system to me, but it is a quite old system. I'm working on a late 2013 Mac Pro. But bouncing in place, anytime you take MIDI, turn it into audio, this the computer's not having to use the virtual instrument anymore. Thus, it's going to be a lot easier on the engine in general. And I want to do that because I'm going to then affect it more. And a lot of times you're going to start experiencing some computer slowdown if you do this all on one channel. Push the formats down. And then let's actually, I was about to bounce it in place again, but I realized if I just duplicate the channel, get rid of little Ultra Boy. Drag this down. I'll have both of them. So here's this. Let's fade them out for the last ones. Cool. So, oh, whoops, I don't want to bounce that. Just gonna do paste. There we go. Let's get our symbols in there too. What was I gonna say? This track, again, we're gonna keep writing lyrics to it. I'll keep recording it. I'm gonna see Preston tonight, so perhaps we'll work a little bit on this. I'll maybe make a short. So if you find this stuff helpful or cool at all, you would help me out a ton by subscribing to the channel. And if you do, you'll probably see a short of us tracking this vocal. So let's see here. Let's hear the song. Perfect. So my vision for this track, I talked about this earlier, but I have a name for it already. The lyrics, again, in here really aren't even written. It's just kind of a freestyled vocal melody to help us write the lyrics and to help me produce the track. So essentially, I feel like I want to have the track be very circular. With one of my students, shout out to Eli. He's playing the piano. He's becoming quite the piano player, and we are working on Pachelbel's Canon in D, which we talk about. It's the famous wedding processional song, and I had a music history professor who I absolutely loved. Shout out to Dr. Pfau, Marianne Pfau, if you happen to stumble upon this. I really enjoyed all of your classes, and she basically said one thing that stuck with me for Pachelbel's Canon in D is that we use it in weddings because it sounds like it's never going to end because of the way the bass line is structured. And this song, I don't want it to sound like it's never going to end, but I thought it would be cool to have kind of like a circular building texture so that this song isn't as much chorus. Perhaps the melody itself will take the place of the chorus, but the words are going to hopefully tell this story, which again goes in line with the idea I have for the song. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that melody writing. We could then again work further on it. Preston's super particular, so he'll probably have changes he wants, which is why I want to keep this MIDI in there. I could even move it over here. Let's save it. Let's hear our texture. So one other sound that I want to kind of explore before we call it for this, I want to grab, we're going to do some bouncing in place, but I want to grab maybe even the choir. Let's try lost choir. All right, so first of all, I'm gonna make these happen twice as often, whole notes. We can leave the last measure. All right, let's take that and make it even bigger. This is gonna be pretty cool. So anything that's really like huge like that sounding, you can take and borrow this technique for. So if you happen to have LFO Tool from Extra Records, same company that makes Serum, you will be able to do this. So take any audio, again, the bigger the better. We're trying to create kind of like a background sound effect. That's going to be this sort of fluttering. I'm thinking like a half note tempo. Turn it to our half note. I don't know if that's a dotted half note. Cool. So let's hear what that sounds like. I feel like it's too much with the melody, but that actually might work instead. Let's hear I kind of like that more. So I've got an idea. Let's just use the one with our little Ultra Boy on it. Let's use both the second time, but let's bring in the melody kind of like throughout the second half of the verse. We'll necessarily want the drums to drop out there, but that's going to kind of depend upon the vocals we write. Let's go ahead and play it from the beginning up until like where we finished out writing. If you found this helpful, you would help me out a ton by subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Sorry, we went to my desktop, but it's awesome hanging out with you each week, working on music. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let's go ahead and listen to this track in its full. So here we are, one last time. Here it goes. So I like this one. I again didn't really like have any definable goals on it from the very beginning. But that's kind of the fun about making music. You want to experiment. You want to kind of take a song the direction that it kind of shows up. If you have an idea that's too set in stone, like before you approach a project, it might turn out feeling a little predictable. Once again, my name's Andrew. Thank you so much for tuning into Music Theory Logic. If you found this at all helpful, you would help me out a ton by subscribing to the channel. Come hang out. I drop videos Tuesdays and Fridays, and I also put out a lot of YouTube shorts, playing guitar, designing sounds, all sorts of stuff. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Cheers.